On a day when the sun burned high in the sky and the air was heavy with fear, a young boy named Ethan stood at the edge of his village, dreaming of a world where children could laugh and learn again. Sometimes, the darkest times are just before the brightest dawn. Long ago, in a land ruled by a cruel king, life was full of pain and worry. The king was not just strict, he was truly heartless. He forced everyone to work, even women, old people, and little children. His ministers were just as bad, following his every order without question. No one dared to speak against him. If anyone tried, they would be punished. The king hated the idea of children learning. He closed all the schools and turned the school buildings into cattle houses. Now, instead of reading books, children spent their days cleaning animal pens and taking care of the king's cattle. The king had magical powers, which he had gained through dark magic. These powers made him even more dangerous, and everyone in the land was afraid. The elders of the village often whispered, "If our children cannot study, what will become of their future? Our families will be slaves to this king forever." But no one had the courage to stand up to the king. Ethan was different. He was the 14-year-old son of a local wrestler. His father secretly trained him in wrestling and strength at home, away from the king's eyes. Ethan's body was strong, and his heart was brave. He wanted to fight the king, but he knew that physical strength alone was not enough. The king's magical powers were too strong, and fighting him without a plan would be like walking into the mouth of a lion. One day, the heat was unbearable. The sun was blazing, and the whole village seemed to hide in the shadows. Suddenly, an old traveler appeared at the edge of the village. He was tired, thirsty, and weak. There was no well in the area, and the villagers watched him with fear, too scared to help. The old man climbed a small hill and sat down, looking over the silent village. Just then, Ethan and his father passed by. The old man called out, "Why is everyone so afraid here? Why is there no laughter, no water, no hope?" Ethan and his father sat beside him and told him everything: the king's cruelty, the closed schools, the children forced to work, and the magical powers that kept everyone silent. The old man looked at Ethan's strong arms and said, "You have the strength to fight, but you need more than muscles. You need wisdom, planning, and strategy. Remember, even the strongest wall can be broken if you find the right spot." Ethan listened carefully. The old man continued, "The king's magical powers are not endless. Every month, on the 19th night of the moon, his powers disappear until sunrise. That is your chance." Then, the old man took off a ring from his finger. It was a simple ring, but it glowed with a strange light. "This is a magical ring," he said. "It will protect you from the king's spells for one night. Use it wisely. But remember, the real power is not in the ring. It is in your mind and your courage." Ethan thanked the old man and promised to use the ring for good. That night, he and his father made a plan. They gathered a few trusted friends and waited for the 19th night of the moon. When the night finally came, the village was silent. The king and his ministers were in the palace, feeling safe as always. But this night was different. Ethan wore the ring and led his friends to the palace. They moved quietly, using the shadows to hide. When they reached the palace gates, Ethan signaled his friends to create a distraction. The guards ran to stop the noise, leaving the gates unguarded. Ethan slipped inside and found the king in his throne room, looking weaker than ever. The king tried to use his magic, but nothing happened. Ethan stood tall and said, "Your time is over. The people are not afraid anymore." The king's ministers tried to run, but the villagers, now brave and united, blocked every exit. Ethan and his friends tied up the king and his ministers and brought them to the village square. As the first light of dawn touched the sky, the villagers gathered. For the first time in years, they saw hope in each other's eyes. The elders announced, "The king's rule is over. From today, our children will learn, our people will be free, and no one will live in fear." The schools reopened, and the cattle were returned to the fields. Children ran to their classrooms, their faces bright with joy. Laughter and music filled the village. Ethan's courage and strategy had ended the darkness, and a new day had begun. Evil never lasts. Darkness always gives way to light. True strength lies not in force, but in wisdom, courage, and unity. When people stand together, no chain can hold them, and every dark night ends in a bright dawn. Never lose hope, and never stop fighting for what's right. If this inspired you, share it with someone who needs hope. Comment your own story of standing up for what's right, and subscribe for more reminders that no darkness lasts forever.